The even more toxic alpha variant of COVID-19 struck Taiwan, creating challenges for doctors. In Brooklyn, New York, Fujian immigrants formed distribution teams to help locals. Welcome to Diet Headlines, I'm Hu Chao. Thank you for joining us. The alpha variant of COVID-19 struck Taiwan hard this year, posing higher threats to seniors and patients with chronic diseases. In order to deal with post-COVID-19 conditions, long-term rest and treatment is required in order to bring one back to a healthy state. When I looked at the CT scans, and actually I also got a pulmonary function test, everything is normal.
In March 2020, Li Chenghan was tested positive for COVID-19 in the Philippines. Relying on his well and immune system, he luckily made it through. According to the health check results now, he's back at normal state.
当时确诊刚开始的时候是觉得身体一直发热，然后会有一些倦怠的感觉。
When I was tested positive, I felt a fever all around my head and body. Then I felt tired. Back then, my body temperature was around 37.1 Celsius. And when I was tested positive, I was placed into a quarantine ward. For the following week, I had high fever and started coughing.
那高烧才开始伴随的是不断的咳嗽。
2 months after leaving the hospital, Li Chenghan returned to Taiwan. Upon his arrival, the ITV's interview team recorded his recovery progress.
Originally, I can run for about 3 to 6 kilometers. Like last week, I got exhausted even before reaching the 1 kilometer mark.
一刚开始的时候，身体还会有一点就是类似咳嗽的冲动。
At the start, I felt the urge to cough, but after drinking Chinese medicine, I slowly improved my life and my broach's immune system.
免疫力就把它顾得更好一点。
After 3 months of consuming Chinese medicine, Li Chenghan's health recovered.
医疗上面，我们必须承认它是非常的紧张。
After a year, another wave of pandemic broke out in Taiwan as the British variant caused nationwide panic.
英国的他们大数据的一个分析的话
According to big data analysis, the British variant reduces our gustatory senses by 8%. It also increases throat pain, body aches, and coughing by 5%. So the change isn't that much, but the main point here is that the British variant is highly contagious.
想象中那么多，最重要其实就是它的传播力会增强。
这个变种病毒呢，在今年看起来呢，它毒性比较强，像去年。
This variant is more toxic. Like last year, many people were asymptomatic. Due to the increase of cases this year, we see a lot of patients with obvious symptoms, such as chest tightness, asthma, and breathing issues. From the respiratory tract, the gastrointestinal tract, to the nervous system, many cases have lost the sense of taste and smell. From the case this year, we see that symptoms on patients are severely sped up.
这些个案呢，在今年里面也看得到，可是症状发生的急促性有比去年呢快一点。
When a confirmed case is a senior or a person with chronic disease, the rate of death goes up. COVID-19 has infected billions worldwide, as the most common symptom is pulmonary fibrosis, which affects the lungs' ability to exchange oxygen. Look at this new wave of pandemic, there's more to it.
确实，现在从英国的数据上看起来，它会对于肺部造成。
According to the data from the United Kingdom, the variant causes much harm to the lungs. It also creates sequelae for the patient's kidney and liver. It can also worsen one's diabetes, creating even more problems.
造成糖尿病的这个加重，这等等的一个后遗症会产生出来。
One post-COVID treatment, the NRICM101, which is sold globally, provides great clinical results in terms of fighting against the virus and strengthening the immune system.
那去年的药物已经出口到欧洲，特别是第一个。
Last year, we exported our medicine to Europe. The first country we exported to is the United Kingdom. So many COVID patients in the United Kingdom have used NIRCM 101, and there were good responses. So we didn't worry about this variant.
我们实际上对于这个病毒治疗上呢，并没有比较大的担心。
The 1-year road of recovery is harsh. Therefore, Li Chenghan has a few words of encouragement for patients suffering from COVID-19.
其实想要对这些有确诊的
Actually, I want to tell them that this is a long process. But if you try your best to make it through, you'll do just fine. We have to believe in our immune system. We have to also believe in Taiwan's excellent medical resources, accompanying us through our road to recovery.
医疗资源可以支持我们一起度过这一段的过程。
Let us express care and empathy to COVID-affected patients and hope that they may recover soon, returning back to a normal life.
As COVID-related death cases increased, some funeral homes are afraid to take in bodies of deceased COVID-19 patients. Therefore, New Taipei City Funeral Business Association has created a team dedicated to dealing with the bodies of deceased COVID patients. These workers must wear layers of protective clothing and work under high risk. Though they are quite like medical workers in terms of distance with COVID patients, these workers are not in the priority queue to receive vaccination.
The inner layer and outer layer is there to make sure staff members won't get infected.
The inner layer is the protective clothing, and the outer layer is another layer of protective clothing, from top to bottom, and the staff must also wear a cap on top.
Recently, funeral home workers work even harder as COVID-related death cases increased. Many expressed fear while dealing with the remains of COVID patients.
If you don't have a good immune system, there's a higher chance to get infected during work.
As workers demonstrate clothing, the outer layer is the protective clothing, and there's another layer inside, another layer for the hair, and 3 more layers for the hand. On the outer layers of the N95 mask, there must be another layer of medical mask tightly sealed to prevent openings.
After the hospital enshrines the remains, the first layer is removed. After cremation, and when the coffin is set, the second layer has to be removed, and we must disinfect the vehicle.
$820 is used on equipment every time, and the gear has to be thrown away after work. What's even more harsh is that the protective gear is even harder to get during the pandemic. The government also never taught vendors the know-hows, thus funeral home workers must rely on the internet for accurate information.
I have to learn and search on the internet. From the first time to dealing with COVID remains, I slowly reinforced myself and learned. I've also improved my equipment.
New Taipei City Funeral Business Association's chairman said that, though they're also working at the front line, the government sent back an answer putting them at the lower priority for vaccination.
They rejected us and told me to request my local units for a vaccine because we asked the wrong person.
In order to avoid direct contact with COVID remains, hospitals will put the remains into 2 layers of body bags. They immediately send for cremation. These steps are necessary because once the funeral workers are infected throughout the process, the consequences are very serious.
We deal with the last step and we hope that nothing goes wrong. If people from funeral homes are tested positive, will the funeral home go out of business?
New Taipei City Funeral Business Association formed a team of 50 people dealing with the remains of COVID-19 patients. 19-year-old Gong Junbing is one of the team members, as he has been in the profession for over a year. Every time he goes into work, he must wear layers of protective clothing and never takes breaks on duty.
For about 3 hours we wear this. Yes, we have to be patient. Once you get into contact with the remain, you must start work immediately and never pause, because you're in direct contact with COVID-19.
Gong Junbing said that he has come into contact with at least 30 COVID remains, but he's still unable to receive a vaccination. Though he's not vaccinated yet, he's willing to give all his effort during the country's toughest times.
I haven't been back home for almost a month because there's no vaccines for us. Every day we go to the hospitals and come into contact with COVID patients. I even slept on the floor in my workspace.
When we talk about frontline workers, we usually think about medical staff. We'll think of these funeral home workers when they're also working under high risk.
In Brooklyn, New York, the city has hosted immigrants, including immigrants from Fujian, China. This group of Chinese immigrants works hard on behalf of their children. In 2015, Tzu established a liaison office in Brooklyn, hoping to help more Chinese Fujian immigrants in need. Here's more.
Like my house, the rent costs $1,800 per month. There are 2 rooms left and right. I rented out a small room in order to reduce pressure on my monthly rent.
The 3-room apartment is rented by multiple families, a small kitchen and a space for children to attend online classes. Spaces like this are typical for Fujian new immigrants like Wang Naning, The young couple has to take care of their life abroad while making sure that their parents in China are doing fine.
The husband goes out to work, they come back once per week. My job is to take care of the children. When we first moved here, we didn't know English at all. It's very tiring, and it's not about being tired from work, it's because we get tired from not being able to understand anything.
For 10 years, more and more Fujian immigrants from China relocated to New York's Brooklyn, 8th Avenue. A community of immigrants is established, providing a sense of familiarity and safety to these new immigrants.
We have a Chinatown here in Brooklyn. There's a lot of restaurants and job opportunities, and we meet up based on clothing and our eating habits, especially at the 8th Avenue, from 40 to 60th Street. It's mostly Fujian people.
Zhenming is also a Fujian new immigrant, as her family of 5 moved to the United States 10 years ago. Sharing a similar age with Lan Ying, they meet up often to do grocery shopping and support each other in life.
I knew Lan Ying from慈济. I'm very close with her. She's a great person. Later on, I will have to go to the liaison officer since we have other things to do.
Before the distribution, the two are busy contacting people in order to make sure that there are no food waste. Due to the pandemic, starting last year in July, volunteers in Tzu Chi Brooklyn Rise and office distribute vegetables and fruits once per month, allowing the community to further understand Tzu Chi's mission while providing a chance to volunteer.
Now this community has about 70% Fujian friends. They're here to receive food. Some of them see us and they're willing to help too.
Lei Peiling and her husband Lin Kaixing are Cantonese immigrants since the 70s. In recent years, a large number of Fujian families moved to the United States. Though the couple shares a different cultural background, they still introduce Tzu Chi to these new immigrants.
When we distribute supplies to others, we have to bow 90 degrees with both hands facing up. Why do we do this? It's because we're thankful to them for giving us a chance to give. They're also enthusiastic and simple. For people that we make good connections with, we encourage them to come out more.
Lan Ying and Zhenming serve from a parent volunteer. Their children improved due to Tzu Chi's influence. Both of them started to treat Tzu Chi as an important task in life.
I'm in Tzu Chi for about 6 years. I feel that I have found a spiritual home here. Now I live a happier life than before. I also live freely, unlike my frustrated self in the past.
My son and daughter also learn manners, so though it's busy, I'll find some time to volunteer.
This vegetable distribution in Brooklyn isn't just an aid of living supplies to these Chinese immigrants. The place also became a safe harbor for them. In Indonesia, during the pandemic period, Farming Women's Association in Tangerang still participates in farming activities. They give harvested vegetables to villagers who are quarantined, so these people may feel more comfortable during their quarantine period. Let's join them there.
Asparagus Farming Women's Association is formed by farming women in Tangerang. Women have planted all kinds of vegetables on a 180 square meter land. They include water spinach, cabbage, hot peppers, and tomatoes. They also grow fruits such as oranges, olives, and rose apples. In addition, there's also hydroponic vegetables.
Tadinya milik salah satu warga, setelah kami izin dari salah satu.
This piece of land originally belonged to the villagers. Later, we applied to the owner, and in 2018, we developed the land into a green space. I'm grateful that we applied to the government in 2018, and now it is a green open space.
Sudah dibeli oleh pemerintah Kota Tangerang, oleh Dinas Lingkungan Hidup.
Currently, the 11 members of Asparagus Women Association spread seeds, provide fertilizers, water the produce, and harvest the vegetables. The vegetables are sold for about 2,000 to 3,000 rupees, which is equivalent to $20. During the pandemic period, they give vegetables to quarantine villagers free of charge, hoping to lessen their financial burdens.
We have planted 5 kinds of vegetables. We harvested about 5 kilograms of vegetables.
Dari Dinas Ketahanan Pangan Kota Tangerang sudah banyak sekali
Tangerang Food Safety Bureau has provided all kinds of supplies, such as fertilizer and seeds.
banyak sekali termasuk ya hidroponik.
Tangerang Food Safety Bureau has provided farming supplies, such as vegetable seeds, fertilizers, vests, spatulas, and plastic bags. In addition, they provided farming skill training to local residents. They hope that the farming activities will help with the food safety programs.
In Indonesia, a village at Tangerang, villagers will participate in farming for 3 times a week. They have planted all kinds of vegetables and traditional herbs, as these are provided to nearby residents for free.
This village, located in a town in Tangerang, was established in September of 2018. The village has implemented a food safety program, and for 3 times a week, villagers participate in farming activities. On the 600 square meter land, villagers have planted all kinds of vegetables. They include water spinach, Chinese spinach, cabbage, and chili. They also plant traditional herbs such as ginger, turmeric, and sand ginger. In the past, there were only plants for observation on this land. Later, during the pandemic period, residents started to plant vegetables and herbs to meet the villagers' daily needs. Tangerang Food Safety Bureau supports their plan and provided farming training, fertilizer, and vegetable seeds, such as seeds for eggplants, long beans, and chili.
Kemarin juga kita udah panen banyak ya.
We have harvested much vegetables. The villagers help out with harvesting. The residents who need vegetables can come get them.
A while ago, local residents harvested 3 kilograms of water spinach, 1 kilogram of chili, and traditional herbs. Nearby residents can get them for free. One of the residents, City, said that farming activities have lessened her financial burdens.
Since the village has started to plant vegetables, I have truly benefited from it. Currently, the prices of water spinach and chili are high. Although the vegetables prices have gone up, I have the vegetables planted in the village, so I have felt the benefit.
After harvest is completed, villagers will start to spread seeds again. They planted seeds for Chinese spinach, eggplants, and chili. As the villagers provide vegetables for villagers through farming, they have also become a role model for other communities.
Sun Zijun is from Hunan, China. After divorce, she raised her child alone and had to work. Tsuchi has become her natal family in Taiwan. For 3 years, volunteers have come to visit and accompany her every month. For the child's birthday, volunteers specially prepared cakes and gifts, providing the family support and the company that the child desires most.
大家好，我是汪晨。我今年6岁，出生在台北。帮助我个孙行者。谢谢。找到他！
你还真的当妈妈是神仙？
谁偷的啦？
谁偷的？是你自己拖在另外一个地方。
还行吗？可以了，走吧。等会儿，还是走比较好。这第5集。结束。没有路。有蟑螂！
快点！快点！你看你的玩具又丢在我床上，这不是玩具的家。我不乖了。你可以不乖，但是请你一定要做到自己的事情做好。东西在哪里拿的放哪里归位。
就是不可，
每天都要这样子跟你在这里说无数遍。
不可，就是不可，就是不可。
这就是你们两个平常在家里的概况吗？
对呀，每天都要重复这样子，不断的在两个人在这里较劲。
This time, the volunteers will accompany my child to celebrate his birthday again. It's already the third birthday with him, so the child is also very happy.
第一个要想到谁？
妈妈。
那是什么字？是什么字？
生日。
母什么字？
母亲节。
你要说两
个
字。是母难日。
什么日？
痛苦日。
叫母难日。
母难日。
对呀。对，小心啊。Happy birthday to you， 生日快乐。
第一个呢，就是我。
The first wish is that I want to have something that can move, that is, a doll with a movable joint. And then I hope my mother will stay healthy forever.
妈妈平平安安的活下去。
你担心妈妈会有什么状况，对不对？蜡烛，哇！
I need to take 2 kinds of medicine. One is from the Department of Hematology and Gastroenterology, and the other is from the Department of Medicine. When checking the blood, the doctor said that my liver index is very high. He said that the average person is 40, and I'm over 300. I asked what will happen like this. The doctor said it will boost the liver. The medicine the doctor prescribed for me was for Xerox syndrome. The doctor said that there were many reasons for it, that is, tiredness and no rest. Tzu brothers and sisters come to accompany me and Chang'en once a month. In fact, my son likes them very much. He is very happy every time they come.
我们就是固定。
We just come on the first Saturday of every month. That is, everyone has an expectation, which means that we can get together on this day.
一起聚在一起。
是不是你想要的呀？
是我想要的。
是哈，我就知道你会喜欢。
谢谢。
不客气。
是谁？谢谢。
不客气。你是不是想很久？师姐他们就。
In fact, the sisters are my natural family, really, because I have their company every month, so I can share my feelings. My child is accompanied and cared for. He will gradually change and will not feel that only me is around.
只有妈妈。
Due to the pandemic, teachers at the Kaohsiung Dai Kindergarten created interesting activities, keeping the students busy while staying at home during the holiday. We will leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.